Well, it's a great day for a great day. It is episode 5 of season 2 here at Sit On It and Sit In It with Tracy A. Martin, the podcast. And the reason I say sit on it or sit in it or sit with it is it's all depends on how you're able to receive what it is that you need to observe in. Today, we have an guest again that was on one of our episodes named DJ. DJ is starting to really go down that rabbit hole of being that service to others in the beautiful world of mushrooms and how wonderful what mushrooms are as a medicinal mushroom. We're going to have 2 separate episodes. This one today is going to be specifically on the actual types of mushrooms that are out there that you can eat, that can be created into powders, tinctures, all of that, and why they work so well, because they are the micro and macro of life. And that is, we know that every ecosystem without some form of mushroom, life wasn't sustained. And that's why more and more, many of you that are awakening to the degree that you are naturally being guided to all whole living things. And like I have said, and I will stand by 100%, plants are medicine, animals are food. And many people are finally seeing the delusions that were keeping them in a place there, and their microflora, their macroflora, their mindset had become broken, because we know Big Pharma loves making profit and they like keeping you sick. And many of the lies, like you're starting to realize, many of you who've gone down that rabbit hole know that everything you've been taught's a lie. Absolutely everything. On purpose. It's been inverted, it's been twisted, distorted, sent upside down. And so when we start to get back to understanding what many of the elders knew for knowledge and how it got wiped out after thousands and thousands of years, over the last 100 years of Big Pharma being involved, that took us away from the wholeness of all that we are. We know we're being guided back to it. So we're going to get right into it and introduce DJ again. Happy day.
Thanks, Tracy. Yes, my name's DJ, and thanks for having me again, Tracy. It's fantastic, your belief and support in what I'm doing, and really appreciate that. I just start off by saying I know very little on the mushroom front. There's so much to know about mushrooms. There's thousands of different types of mushrooms. Society has accepted 4 or 5 main mushrooms that we work into our culinary dishes and medicines, and they've been accepted over time. But you're right, Tracy, this is a medicine that's been around for thousands of years. A lot of it's been demonized. We've been distracted from it. And it's a lot of it's right under our feet here in Alberta, especially. There's a lot of valuable mushrooms that we're walking on that bring a lot of medicinal value to our bodies. It was talking about Big Pharma, and I guess we're like a mouse looking for a piece of cheese, looking for the natural medicines, and that's what's happening with mushrooms right now. If you can't see out there that Big Pharma, it's not about your health. It's never been about your health. Good luck to you, because the wolf's in the hen house right now, and it's become very obvious that it's never been about our health. So I guess that's where it came for me years ago. Just trying to fit in my skin, like I touched on the last podcast there. Never feeling comfortable, never being okay with myself, and always been on a pursuit of figuring out why and what's going on there. And dealing with thinking problems, emotions and feelings, and how all that stuff interacts. And I found myself looking at mushrooms now, and that came through years of pain and doing the work, and still not being okay, still not fitting in my skin. And I'll just touch base on the story again really quick. A friend of mine, we were at a strawberry farm, and he had said, "Do you ever tried the mushrooms before?" And I said, "No, I haven't touched those in years. I'm not going to touch them." And I tried that day just a little bit, and my whole body just kind of synced. Everything synced in together. I the mind quieted, focus was very laser sharp, and I was just okay. It was just what I've been chasing for years, and I couldn't believe it. And so from that moment on, I took 4 years, last 4 years of educating myself on the mushrooms, and just pursuing that with a couple other guys. And then we get into things, naturally morphing into pain help. People were taking the mushrooms and, mentioning that it was really helping with their pain. So we started focusing on things like CBD, full spectrum CBD, not the isolate where they're overthinking things and they're trying to isolate CBD. The full spectrum of the plant, the leaves, the branches, the seeds, all of it put in together is really making a difference with people in pain mixed with the mushrooms. A good friend of mine named Joe came into my life 4 years ago, naturally, divinely, and he is a hemp guy. He's a marijuana guy. He has a hemp farm north of here, and we started mixing the two together, the mushrooms and the hemp, and I've had huge success with it. It's making a big difference for people. So I guess I went on for a long rant there, but yeah, that's, I know very little about the mushrooms. There's so much to know, but I can offer you today, with what little I know about the basic mushrooms I talked about before, 5 like turkey tail, lion's mane, cordyceps, oyster mushrooms. These are ones that have been accepted by society. And, for the most part, I just thought that was, good food. And then when I started looking into the medicines, it's unbelievable. Like I had to write it down because there's just so many benefits that each mushroom like cordyceps has is pages long. All of them, when you look at them, work on the heart. All the mushrooms are working on the heart. They're very valuable for the heart. Yeah, so that's what it's about. I don't know where this is going to go with the, I know that society is breaking away from normal behaviors and where they're getting their medicine and their health and who they believed is where that came from. I've said for years, the kingdom's within. We're our own best doctors. And anything I share with you here, I'm not a doctor, but it's my own personal experience that I've been through, and people around me that can verify that it's true with them too. So yeah, thanks for having me on again. It's where to go off to.
Wonderful, DJ. So, what is the name of your mushroom company or the website?
Okay, well, so yeah, it's called Mushrooms Plus, and reason being is obviously the mushroom part of it, but I'm a big fan of other things like wheatgrass and kombucha, fermented foods, stuff like that, probiotics, prebiotics, and so again, it's just leaving it open-ended because we're just getting guided every day, not really certain where we're going, and we just put the plus on there just because who knows what's coming. And a couple of the guys I work with they're like wizards. They have a vast amount of knowledge through the years. And they're kind of like my mentors through the years. I talk to them daily, and the amount of knowledge they have about health and medicine and wellness is incredible. I wish the conversations that we've had every night that I would have recorded them through the years, because something divine happens when we have these conversations. But there's a lot of valuable knowledge in these guys, and so we call the Mushrooms Plus. Yeah, just leave it open ended, and that's that. Yeah.
So let's say I were to say to you, okay, I'm having these kind of symptoms, and is there a concoction you can make for me that, and would it include 1 or 2 or 3 or up to 5, and would you be able to help people understand more, like what kind of symptoms they have going on, if you're able to create something of a blend, so that, because we know people are lazy. I know you're going to be triggered. Most of you are very lazy, and many of you want that pill, that magic pill for everything to go away, when it took years or decades for it to come on, and you think it's going to go overnight. And that was what Big Pharma trained you and ingrained you with, to give you some kind of hidden hat trick, but not taking care of absolutely the root of where it came from. So is there certain kind of mixtures that you're making right now? What kind of clients do you have, DJ, that you've been helping on many different levels, so that people can kind of understand how deep you go with helping people at Mushrooms Plus here?
Yeah, sure. So first of all, there's no one quick fix, as you know, Tracy. I mean, there's mind, body, and spirit. it's a plethora of things that to put together for a stable body and mind. Um, what we do, we have a bunch of different ingredients, and it's all intuitive, really, when it comes down to it. We try to get the interaction going with the client so that they're understanding that they're playing a big part in this. So the first thing I ask a person is, what's your intention behind this? Because you have to bring that to the forefront of their mind. What is going on with you, and what would you like to see better? And then we have a list of different ingredients that kind of just come in through the universal intelligence. Not that I went out really necessarily seeking them, and they just show up. So then what I would do is I go sit with people for an hour or two in their house, and I'd like to have their whole family at the table and get a good idea of what's going on with their inside of their home. Like just get a feel of the energy that's going on in there, and because that's where you have to start. And you'll get to know some of the things that can go. Like if I go into somebody's home and we're talking and they're struggling with anxiety and stress, and I see a bottle of wine sitting on the counter, that's the first thing I'm going to tell them. I'll shoot right from the hip and I'll tell you, well, that's got to go. These things have to go. And then you look at the types of food that they're eating, the type of water that they're drinking, and then you see how they interact with each other. And then I'll get a good feel of what's going on at that point. And then introduce a list to them that we've come across, like things like pine pollen, Schizandra, Shatavari. Those are berries. Pine pollen is just phenomenal for, I've got a list, I'm going to read a few things here, but I was just specifically working with the microdose of psilocybin. And so the original formula is called Clarity. And that was just to get your thinking sharp and quiet the noise down. And that is a mixture of cordyceps, lion's mane, and CBD, and then the psilocybin. So since that time, many of these ingredients have showed up, and like I said, people were commenting on how it's helping with their pain so much. So that's where we started focusing on the CBD and realizing that the CBD was making a big difference in their pain threshold and how they were able to process that. But basically, it's an intuitive, interacting process. So get people to do their own research and look at these different ingredients that we can come by and then mix them together with the psilocybin. I'm not a doctor, and I don't have a set rules or a manual for this. It has to be interacting with people, and what's their intentions and motives, and their intuition will guide them with what to take, when to take it, and how to take it. And then so it's a process like that where I like to interact with the people and keep in touch and see how things are going and see what we can improve. It's very interactive. It's there's many different ingredients out there in the world, natural medicines that can help us in many ways. But I think when you put the intention out to the universe, then that energy comes back to you, what you should be taking, what you should be doing. So it's a little bit outside of the box. Your natural doctor or something that we're going to go and learn in information in the school or anything like that. It's working with the universe. So we energetically charge the mushrooms, and that's with really strong intentions and motives with crystals and sacred geometry stuff. Shungite. I have different. My setup is just over here, but I have different type of sacred geometry with lights and shungite that I put the mushrooms in before they leave the house, and all the ingredients are very sourced out energetically. Make sure the people that are making them are energetically sound and integrated as possible, and their intentions and motives are pure. That has to be number one. So it's just things like that. It's not your typical healing type of medicine business where there's anything that's cut and dry. This is kind of interactive and lots from the intuition and personal experience. So that's how that's going.
And that's fantastic. I hope that people are realizing why suddenly at the forefront 5D Earth, the new Earth stuff is coming forth, and it seems to be without a boundary in it and limitations, which is all of life and the circle of life. And this always takes it right back to you, where you can't run, you can't hide from you anymore. But this, being able to have someone to interact with, and people who actually have the intent of you remembering you are whole, perfect, and complete. And whatever this ends up having within it, that intuitive guidance that you are realizing, I do need help, because that's what community is all about, in unity of people helping each other through the course of love. And it's all about love. So the more you love yourself, the more you're naturally guided to what feeds your soul, not just the physical essence of you and the spiritual essence, but that emotional, mental state as well. So I love that you guys are absolutely making that accountability happen first, and for them to remember the responsibility that no matter where they are, there they are.
Well, Tracy, sorry to cut you off there, but just an important point. How this works, I think anybody that doesn't understand, try for 10 days when you go to sleep at night to ask the universal intelligence to show up in your life, because it's there. It's always there for us. It's just that we have to seek. The magic is in the seeking, looking for that. And if when we reach out at night, show up in my life, show me that you're here, and be diligent with that, connect to that question and to that thought, and then go to sleep and do that 10 days in a row. It shows up and it's phenomenal and it's undeniable. There's guidance all around us, and that's how we're doing things here. I don't have the answers. My ego will twist things up in all sorts of different directions. So I try to stay out of the ego and ask the universal intelligence, and all the answers are there. It's just we've been told to go to the guy in the white jacket and go to the guy in the cloak to get religion, and that's all a bunch of baloney. But and it turns out, oh my God, the answers are within me. They're right here. I just have to reach out and look and ask, and then they show up. And so anybody that's interested in these mushrooms and are getting a relief from any kind of symptoms they're feeling with, get in touch with the universal intelligence that's out there, and just simply do what I said. And the first time I tried that 8 years ago, I couldn't believe it. And then I was playing with the energy at work the next day. And okay, I want to see it tomorrow. I want to see you show up tomorrow at work. And it would. And I'd play with it. And it's undeniable. So yeah, if before you try any of these medicines or mushrooms, healing medicines, make a connection with that intelligence out there. You're not going to get it from the pharmacy. You're not going to get it from centers. You're not going to get it from the doctor. They don't care about your health. They're not connected to universal intelligence. So they have very limited knowledge of what's going on out there. So this is way outside of the box. I mean, we just have to believe that that's true, and just try that with simple little exercise, and then you can avoid it. And many people they'll make the connection to the universal intelligence, and they'll justify, and they're like, oh, couldn't be, and they're just so conformed into thinking a certain way. So believe in yourself that you've been lied to, like you say, and keep your mind open, and the answers are there.
Absolutely. So some of you had questions, and you're saying, can DJ tell about, so there was reishi, cordyceps, turkey tail, cordyceps was most of the 4 that people were wanting to have a bit more information on certain things that they seem to help with. So
Sure.
if we start with reishi, and I know a lot of people are starting to understand more and more, it's coming out to the forefront. Can you speak about the reishi mushroom and what it looks like, and what you've known that it's been documented within what you can find on it?
Right. So okay, so they all are very similar in how they help the body, but reishi mushroom, as you know, is an adaptogen. That's an important part of that. And I just want to read this part, because I'm just learning in the last year what an adaptogen is, but it's pretty fantastic. Tracy, I know you like it too as well, the idea of an adaptogen. Okay, so what are adaptogens? The word adaptogen has proliferated the wellness world, but to be considered, just bear with me a sec here. To consider an adaptogen, a plant must meet the following 3 criteria. First, it needs to increase your non-specific resistance to stress, meaning targeting your body as a whole rather than one specific part. Second, it has to be habit forming. Third, it must be non-toxic. And then so how an adaptogen works, this is an important part of what reishi mushrooms has. So adaptogens help you deal with environmental and emotional stressors by modulating and normalizing your response to stress hormones when they're out of balance. For example, if your body is normally used to a warmer climate and you travel somewhere cold, adaptogens can help you respond to recover and shock temperature change. So that's the idea of an adaptogen. And reishi mushroom is a big adaptogen. High blood pressure, it improves. It boosts your immunity, working on the white blood cells. Decreases stress. Your sleep improves incredible. The fatigue fights several types of cancer, heart health, and your blood sugar balance. Those are just a few to name on the reishi, just to touch base on the reishi. And that, so we have all those things in mind when we're mixing them with the psilocybin. Yeah, so what it looks like, it's looks like a brown little mushroom. It's yeah, it's hard to explain how it looks, a lot of these mushrooms, but lots of pictures out there. It's just like a piece of leafy cauliflower kind of thing, or in a sense.
Okay. And so the next one that many people have been hearing all over mainstream, it's starting to blow up and is turkey tail.
Turkey tail is amazing. Paul Stamets, if you go to the TED Talk on Paul Stamets, he healed his mother from breast cancer, and she had stage 4, and she had lumps all through her body. And he used turkey tail and only turkey tail and healed her cancer free. And she was in her 80s. And it was a phenomenal talk if you get a chance to go see that. But so touching base on turkey tail, strong vitamin B3 and D. D is a huge one we need. The immune system, digestion, prebiotics, balances blood sugar levels. It's a huge viral and bacterial, it fights viral and bacterial infections, reduces fatigue, and your cognitive health. So like these things are huge. They're mind-boggling. Why wouldn't a doctor, when you go to Big Pharma or the Medi Center, say, "Hey, hang on a minute, let's talk about mushrooms for a second. All these things that you're here to talk to me about, I've got something that might work, and it's food."
Absolutely. And the greatest thing that we're learning, especially when you tune into the higher dimensions of what love is, it is simple. It's always been out in front of your face, and you usually have completely ignored it the whole time. And this is what I'm hoping people get out of this segment today, is to know that just one thing alone can completely turn your life around, because of how the body knows it's itself and you are it. And the moment that you pair with it and remember the harmony of each other, it happens even faster on every level. So
Right.
so we go from reishi, we understand how in depth it is to begin with, and we see turkey tail, and it is a plethora of just amazingness. And now, especially because of all that's happening on this planet, everyone is so feeling the brain fog. Let's talk about lion's mane.
I'm going to touch base on lion's mane in a second. I just want to keep on turkey tail for a second because it's all over Alberta. But there is a shadow turkey tail out there that is not edible. So any of these mushrooms I talk about, please do your research and make sure you have a descriptive book, because there's a lot of false mushrooms that look very much like the one you're after, but it's not. Like the morel mushrooms, there's 2 of them. One of them is really poisonous, but one of them is very edible. Turkey tail too, one of them will make you sick, and there's another one that's very medicinal. All over Alberta, you'll see them growing along trees, broken down trees that are laying on the ground, and thousands of them in rows, turkey tail. So again, I can't tell you which ones are poisonous or not, and in that it has to be very specific to where you're at. But make sure you're certain, before you put any of these in your body. But yeah, turkey tail is all over Alberta. It's fantastic. Lion's mane, that's one of the main ingredients we use. So it's a game changer for our mental health, neurotransmitters in the brain. It's phenomenal. Rebuilds neurotransmitters in the brain. Okay, so it's working on the nervous system, huge one for anxiety and stress, fights dementia. And that's a big thing that if you're looking, there's a lot of reports out there that it prevents dementia. A lot of these things that, you know, in the mainstream media, you'll look and you'll see all the valuable assets of these mushrooms, but then they'll say, but nothing has been proven, or, you know, that's, you know, they're just keeping you going to big pharma. But all of this stuff has been proven on personal levels. You just don't get to see it. So this, again, it's interactive. It's people have to do their own research and seek the knowledge of these mushrooms because it's out there. Repairs nerve damage and rebuilds neurotransmitters in the brain. So the lion's mane, because my pursuit of the mushrooms in the beginning was anxiety, stress, depression. Lion's mane popped up right away. It was a no-brainer. And everybody should have a bag of lion's mane in their house and take that with a tea in the morning. A lot of the mushrooms I talk about here, you can just have in a tea, get rid of the coffee, and just substitute it with warm water, warm milk, or, you know, rice milk is probably the best, but they all go good with that. If you're going to be putting something in your body every day like that, put a cancer killer in your body, like lion's mane or turkey tail, that is going after the anaerobic stuff in your body. Yeah, I can't say enough about lion's mane and what it does for the nervous system. It's fantastic. And it's all over Alberta too. You'll find it as well. I came across it last year and it's pretty cool to see. Lion's mane is a much different looking mushroom. It looks like a shaggy dog head in a sense, almost. And these mushrooms, you know, I'd like to do a segment with you one day, Tracy, a podcast on actually teaching people how to grow these. And what we're going to do here soon is we're going to have bags that are already inoculated with the mycelium, certain type of mycelium of the mushroom that you want. And then you'll be able to take that bag home to your counter, put it on your counter, and watch it fruit right inside of that bag. And so growing mushrooms can be very challenging, but it's simple. It's a simple process. There can be lots of failure because of the molds that we're competing with all over the place. But I'd like to get it so they can get these mushroom bags right to the people's kitchen and they can cultivate their own mushrooms right there from our bags that are inoculated. So my mycelium, we could talk about mycelium for an hour and a half about what that is, but we'll stick on topic here. But that's lion's mane. It's just phenomenal for the nervous system.
That's amazing. That's so awesome. And like you're saying, you're going to start wanting to go down that rabbit hole deeper and deeper when you think of something as simple as a mushroom, and then you start realizing the depth of the knowledge in it of what it just knows to harmonize, because it is the micro and the macro of life. It's life-giving. And so cordyceps.
Yeah, cordyceps is, yeah, probably my favorite. I love them all, but endurance, anti-aging, anti-tumor, diabetes, heart health, inflammation, immunity, testosterone and estrogen, and it greatly improves your sexual energy. Like, it's just fantastic. And then your stamina. I can work a 12-hour day and do one dropper of a tincture of cordyceps, and I could go another 10 hours, no problem. And it's not a chemical. It's amazing.
That's awesome. And so do you do them in powder form, or do you like the tincture form that you guys create?
I'm glad you brought that up. So in medicines, you're looking for the terpenes of any fruiting body. You want the terpenes. That's the valuable medicinal part of the mushroom. As soon as you start to break that down into a powder form, you're losing those valuable terpenes. So the ultimate way to take any of these medicines is through tinctures, 100%. So we're not making tinctures just yet. I buy mine from Harmonic Arts, and it's just over the years that's year-old Willier, and fantastic frontiersman of mushrooms, really big heart, beautiful soul, and he makes amazing tinctures. And so I always have one of those in my fridge of cordyceps. It's very reasonable priced. You can get that stuff most of your health food stores. Harmonic Arts is, well, it's covering a lot of space now. So, but that's very important to know. Like if you are fighting cancer or something that's very serious, you want to get right to the tincture right away, because that's where all the terpenes are locked inside of those tinctures. When we start to break them down into powder, then you're losing that stuff. So even making the powdered capsules that we do, I know we're losing a lot of the medicinal value that way, but then we're thinking of synergies and, you know, just interacting with the different medicines, just a little touch of each. like homeopathy kind of synergy idea and energetics that we put into that powder, that you're losing the terpenes, but then what kind of energy we put back into them before they go out.
That's awesome. I love how that you've explained it more. This is going to help a lot of people too. And I know it's really important where you get your products from. So, and I'm going to say this, and it's going to trigger some of you, and I hope it does, because so many of you love buying from Walmart or Amazon and you have no idea where it's coming from. And no different than in this great awakening, the reason that we're supporting local or getting to know, like when I'm going to be doing something, I phone that person and I have a conversation with them, because they're real and they want the conversation with me, or I'm not interested, because I need to know where it's been sourced from, how it's all happening, so I know that it isn't 3D printed or outsourced from China or wherever else that it's been going. And so this is really important, because there's many false lights out there that are selling stuff to make money, but there is no goods in it. And this is why when we meet people, these beautiful people, and we see to the degree that they're involved, because love is involved, and that is what the difference is. That's the part of the recipe that's the greatest. So knowing that harmonic arts, and many people are seeing it out there, the fact that DJ knows this person and has such respect for this person individually, and like Homegrown in Spruce Grove, the organic food store, I know they're carrying a ton of the tincture lines now and the teas, all of that. Same with even Friesens in the organic section now. So you're seeing people within areas that are absolutely carrying all these, just like at the Enjoy Center by St. Albert, we're finding out like they've got a lot of it there too. And if you don't know where to begin, again, we're going to put DJ's phone number up on the screen here towards the end so that you guys are able to contact him, because it's always great to have someone to bounce stuff off of. And what's great about DJ, what I love about his authenticity, is if he doesn't know, he will find out for you, and he will know where to guide you because of the plethora of his team that he knows of so much knowledgeable people. And that's what love is, right?
Right. That's the thing with the mushroom culture, is I found over the years, they're very giving. They want to share this knowledge. They want people to be healthy. You get into more of the the dispensaries, the marijuana and all that stuff. People are more hoarding that energy, or that wisdom and that knowledge of the values of that medicinal plant. But mushrooms, people are very giving. I found Gerald Willier with Harmonic Arts he's just a fun hippie that started picking mushrooms on the West Coast there, and this business of his has bloomed because of his intention and because of his heart is wide open. And it's a perfect example. I don't think he was there to make the money that he did, but it just happened naturally because he's in truth. He's walking in truth. So his products, fantastic. I can't say enough about them, the tinctures and the reasonably priced and all that. So I'm going to grab my logo here and just show you really quick here, just a sec.
Perfect. And do you guys realize that love is abundance when you do something because you love it? That's why so many people have hobbies, creativities, whatever, and they do it and they make abundance through it. Which part of that is wealth? That is abundance. And that's why it's so wonderful when that signature is felt. And that's why you vibe to certain people, certain things, because it feels good and it's leveling up with you. So
absolutely. Okay, so this is my logo here. I don't know if you can see it on there. Pretty basic, just getting started here. But one thing I have on the back here is called I put on there is Made with Love. The first shipment of supplies I got from the States, from a company to start growing mushrooms, when I got interested in this, there was a nice letter written on top of the packaging, and it said "Happy Journeys" and "Made with Love," and that really struck me as authentic and really opened my heart, and was my first introduction to the mushroom world. And I was like, wow. And then anybody I've dealt with, I've gotten that "Made with Love" from different parts of Canada and the United States, where they put "Made with Love." So I started putting it on the back of my pack. It's just nice to know the mushroom world, the medicinal values in the mushroom world is all coming from the heart. It's that type of people is just really genuinely concerned about you getting better or improving or succeeding. There's no ulterior motives of finance and money that they're necessarily after. I'm sure you're going to get that, but generally, the mushroom world is really open-hearted and energetically sound. That's why I love being a part of it. I'll die on this hill for sure. The mushrooms, it's a fun hobby.
So let's talk about Shazandra.
Okay, so Shazandra is a berry, and Shazandra is mental functions, adrenal functions, digestive support, um, liver, stomach, vitality, stress balance hormones, and activates estrogen receptors. Shazandra is a berry it's in Asia, at the bottom of the mountains in Asia. Ayurvedic medicine, if that's how you say that. So that's like kind of like homeopathy. It's just a different way of healing the body and different types of medicines, but it's thousands of years old. Shazandra is phenomenal on what it does for your body. And I just came across it through another mushroom friend that's using it in her ingredients. And it really resonated with me when I looked at it. Just the berry is beautiful, and it covers many different functions of the body. It's a big part of hormonal balance for women too. Yeah.
Awesome. And I wanted you to be able to clear that up because a lot of people have seen it in mushroom tinctures and all that. But it's nice that they know that it isn't a mushroom, but it is a berry. And that's why when they're playing and putting certain things together is because of what it does for each other and either complements or creates a different pathway. So what else do you want to play, and what mushrooms next would you like for people to start understanding and going down that rabbit hole and doing a little bit more of their history learning in it?
Right. Well, those ones I touched are the main ones for today. Again, touching on Alberta, there's a couple of really good ones that grow in Alberta that are very valuable. Amanita muscaria, that's the red one with the white dots on it. You see Alice in Wonderland, seen it in the movies for years. It can be very toxic, but it's very valuable. Warriors have used it over times, 2,000 years, for different celebrations, whether it's a kill or a wedding, or it's always had the Amanita muscaria in their culture. It is a really good anti-inflammatory, and it helps with all these functions I talked about. But again, it has to be really handled with care. It's how it's dried that gets rid of the toxic part of it there. So if you just went and ate an Amanita, you might get sick, you might not. But we're just started picking it this last summer and working with that and learning how to process it. My buddy Joe is taking that on, and it's just really cool to know that something that's been demonized so bad is so poisonous. Don't ever touch an Amanita. It actually, on the side of it, there's a lot of valuable medicines there in the Amanita muscaria, and it's all over Alberta. I see it quite a bit. And the morel mushrooms, just to have a hearty, beautiful mushroom when you sit down with a steak at home, you go pick the morel mushrooms. We missed them this last season because there wasn't enough moisture. They're only here for 2 weeks, and it's in July, I believe, and the time for them to come up, it was super dry this summer, so the time came and gone. But I've gone out and picked those. My friend Sheldon out north takes people on mushroom tours. They just did one on chaga a couple of weeks ago, and they ended up getting a lot of chaga mushrooms. There's another one to talk about that's just so valuable. It's equal to the cordyceps, 100%, and that grows on birch trees. You'll find that if you're at home, we go out today, look on your birch trees. If you have old birch trees there, and you'll have a knot that's there, a big brown knot, and it'll be leaking liquid a little bit. That inside of there is chaga, and it's all over Alberta. More up north, but you can find it here. They just found some half an hour from St. Albert here, quite a bit of it last 2 weeks ago. And so that's another thing too. If people want to get a hold of me, I have a good network of people that do these mushroom trips and stuff like that. And again, I only know very little, but all of us together, we're talking about having mushroom days where we can go out and I can teach everybody how to grow the mushrooms, send them home with a pack. We can go chaga hunting, different types of mushrooms like that, and we all learn together and go from there. So everything's in a process right now of this, and Thank you, Tracy, for keeping the energy going with this. It's fantastic. I really appreciate the encouragement and being tied in with you and your wisdom.
Oh, thank you very much. The honor's mine as well. I grow the biggest, and I can't remember the actual name of them, but I just know them as puff mushrooms, right? That are the size of a head. They look like a brain. And can you speak about that? Because a lot of people get bothered by it, and I'll pick tons of them because they love to grow underneath my willows. And I don't eat them myself, but I know people will fry them up like a big steak and just eat them on their own. But yeah, I've had some that are bigger than my head that'll grow up here in this space. Do you want to talk about them for people to
I
understand?
don't know much about them, Tracy. Are you talking the little puffball ones or the, yeah? Yeah, because I heard both stories with that. They can be toxic and they can be very edible. So, but I can't give you much knowledge on those guys.
Okay, that's good
Sorry.
to yeah, because I have a lot of people. I'll just post it on Facebook saying, "Come and get them." Like last year, yeah, there was a lady. She came and got 10 because I picked them all because that way I can cut my grass and stuff underneath all my things and get them out of the way. But
Sure.
yeah,
Again, you have to really know what you're doing with the mushrooms. Somebody saying they're not poisonous is one thing, but there's certain stages to get it to that. And it's how you dry it, dehydrate it, and get it to a place where it is not toxic. Some mushrooms you can eat. Most mushrooms out there, like nature's so beautiful, they'll be bright in color. The poisonous ones, they're letting you know that warning, I'm bright yellow or I'm bright orange. Those are, pay caution when you see bright colored mushrooms out there.
yeah, and I know I've gotten a hold of DJ a few times when I'm walking and all that, and I'll suddenly see a mushroom and one thing to just get off topic a bit to show how amazing the elementals are and what you do not think you can see, and many of us can that are intuitive, is with my grandbabies, especially when we're at the lake, we would create fairy houses. And of course, we would, let them decorate them with nice jewels or crystals, whatever, made out of bark, you name it. And every morning there'd suddenly be candy there for them. And that's what we would do for the kids to get into fairies and realize there's something beyond that. And a lot of young kids can actually see them, like some of us can, compared to a lot of people who are closed off. Well, this one area that I would go to, because there was quite a few kids at the lake at one time, and they'd created this fairy spot. Uh, Alice in Wonderland mushrooms, a bunch of them started growing around where these fairy houses were.
Absolutely, that's all playing with the energy.
Absolutely, and it was the coolest thing to see a response, and for the fact that children got to see it, know that we couldn't just plant them there, and that it naturally started because we'd never seen those kind of mushrooms ever there before, especially where they were in the bush. And I know we have, because there's so much drought, we're starting to lose tons of our birch, and that's why tons of us like to play with it with our plants, stuff like that for our planters. But to know that so many people are understanding chaga and how chaga is so amazing for the immunity system, to know that in China, for instance, the reason that they want to have certain propolis here from Canada is because of our poplar, our black poplar that look like weeds to us, give off such an amazing sap that those honeybees take it back, and the propolis is the highest propolis ever known. And yet we have it right on our doorstep, and we look at black poplar like it's a pain in our ass. And so
Mm-hmm.
to realize everything has meaning is what helps you realize how amazing life is.
Absolutely.
So if they want to get a hold of you, what is the easiest way again? Will that be your phone number?
Yeah, it'll just be my phone number, 587-590-6363. We're putting a website together and some different pamphlets with all the knowledge I just shared with you there. Because of the ingredients we're going to use, we want to be very descriptive about what we're putting in them. But if you have any questions about anything out there, just want to chat, or I do that. I do that quite a bit throughout the day. And yeah, just feel free to reach out if you have any questions. And if I can't answer them, I'll find out the answers for you one way or another. Yeah, that's it. No website address just yet, but just the phone number is fine.
That's wonderful. Thank you so much, DJ. I know that you wanted to get going for your little soon. You got a couple minutes. And is there anything you'd like to say to the audience today?
Yeah, I got a funny story to tell you. Talking about intentions and motives. So, a friend of mine sent me a strain of mushrooms to work with, and so I got it in the mail, and it was a strain called B plus. It's a psilocybin strain, and I had been running it on these packs for about, I don't know, I think it was close to 2 months. And typically, you'll see fruit within a few weeks, and I didn't see any. And so I phoned him back. I said, "What's going on with the strain? It's just not fruiting." And he's like, "I don't know. Mine fruited right away. I don't understand." Um, and so I did a lot of meditation and intentions. It's like, "What are you guys doing? Well, show me what you're doing, because the mycelium will work with you. I won't go in my rooms unless I'm grounded as best to my ability, because of the interaction with the psilocybin, with the mycelium, which is the internet highway of nature. Mycelium is amazing. We'll talk about that one day. But then all of a sudden, these clumps started to show up on those packs, and it looked like cauliflower. And I thought, oh no, these packs are infested, like with something toxic. I've got to get rid of all this. So I phoned him again right away, and he's like, "I don't know, take a picture." So I took a picture and sent it to him. And then all of a sudden, these packs for a couple of days were just, it was like a tidal wave. And that's because it was called, I found out. And it was a mushroom called Enigma. And it only shows up, it has a mind of its own. Now, he had this strain in Vancouver and ran him for years, and it didn't show up there. And I believe it's because the energy and the meditation that I was doing with them and the sacred geometry, all of a sudden this very valuable mushroom showed up, that is just incredibly medicinal values in it. But it was just that dance that it didn't do it over there in BC, but it came to Alberta, and I put a little bit of energy into it different, and I didn't give up on them. And then all of a sudden, it just flushed this amazing, valuable medicine that came out of it that lasted for quite a long time. And it really worked well as far as the microdosing went, and stuff like that. So mushrooms are interactive. They're amazing. All plants are.
And this takes you all back to knowing that we are one consciousness. We're just remembering that we're all connected. We're not outside of anything. That's awesome story. Thanks, DJ, for
Yeah,
sharing.
you bet. And thank you very much for having me today, Tracy.
Wonderful. Thank you, DJ. And I hope you have a fantastic rest of your weekend. And yeah, again, anyone that's wanting to talk with DJ, absolutely give him a call or text. And I'm going to say something to every one of you because I've had a lot of people send questions in to sit in it. So many people are so scared to show up. Many of you are so scared to ask the question, and you have no idea how many people it helps, because many of you have the same question. I need you to get inside your heart. I need you to remember who you are, and we're all cheering each other home, and we can't cheer for you if you don't ask for it. And so many of you that have these questions, like the reason DJ's coming on again is because you've been asking me the questions. And so again, ask and ye shall receive. And so you're not going to get it if you don't ask. So let go of that false evidence appearing real to you, and realize the only way you're going to create your life is on purpose because you showed up. So thank you all for this week at Sit in It. Thank you, DJ, so much. And we will talk to you next time.